Okay, so welcome to this third part of oligopoly, and in this we are going to look at. We are still looking at um, the non-collusive side of the oligopoly, in which competition does take place, and in which there are a few players in the market who are willing to compete with one another. However, the curves that we face in this market are unique. Okay, and why are they unique? They are unique because this curve is actually, as you can see, it slopes down first from the y-axis. If you look at it, it slopes down, but when it's sloping down, it's flatter. Okay, it is flatter, and then after a point, it reaches P1, and when it reaches P1, then it slopes down in a much more steeper fashion. Okay, now in this part of the video, we are just going to see why that is the case. Now, the thing is that up to P1, the demand for the product is price elastic. Okay, the demand for the product is price elastic, and after that point, the demand for that particular product becomes price inelastic. Okay, so in the first part, till P1, let's say, the consumers are responding, are very sensitive to a change in price, and after P1, they become less sensitive to a change in price. Okay, so now let's see what implication that has for the oligopolist. Okay, what implication does that have for the oligopolist? Now, please do keep in mind the feature of the oligopoly. In the oligopoly, the the players in the market, they are interdependent, and interdependence here plays a very important role in explaining this particular behavior that we are going to see in this particular section. Now, the theory will say, the theory of price rigidity will say the theory of price rigidity will say that prices become sticky. Sticky means they will not change. That prices will become sticky at P1. They will become rigid at P1. Why will they become rigid at P1? Because this is the point where everyone has agreed prices should be. After analyzing each other's behavior, they believe that this is the safest price. So they will settle at the safest price, where the other person will not respond in a negative way. So they have settled here. Okay, P1 is the settled price. Now let us say uh, that one person in the oligopolistic market, what he does is he raises the price from P1 to P2. Okay, please keep the objective of the oligopolist in mind. The objective of the oligopolist and all oligopolists is to maximize market share. This is such a predominant objective that they are willing to give up the idea of profit maximization sometimes, just in order to control and maintain their market share. Why? Because they all believe that they are very, very, very close to becoming monopolies. So please do keep that in mind. Now, one person, what he does is he deliberately raises the price from P1 to P2. Okay, keep in mind, what is his objective? Market share. Okay, so what will the other people do? They will observe this behavior. They will observe his behavior. They will see that the prices have risen from P1 to P2, but they are not going to respond in any way. They are not going to respond. Why aren't they going to respond? Because they know that above P1, the graph is uh, very quantity demanded is elastic, which means it's sensitive to an increase in price. So just look at the graph. There is a small increase for this person. There's a small increase from P1 to P2. The prices have increased only from P1 to P2. But look at the proportional fall in quantity demanded. Quantity falls from the dotted blue line to the dotted yellow line. The proportion of quantity demanded is the proportion of the fall in quantity demanded is more, and the increase in price is less. What does that mean? It means that for this smart person, the increase in revenue is less. His revenue falls because the proportion of prices increase in price is less. Quantity demanded falls by a much greater percent. And worse, the main objective, which is to maintain and enhance the market share, that is also lost. He has actually lost the market share. So what a stupid decision to make. This person has actually reduced his revenue, and he's reduced his market share by doing what? By just increasing the price. So the other people who are observing this behavior, they will be quite happy about what has just happened. One competition, one person in the market, one competitor in the market has just taken a suicidal step. He has lost market share because now his customers will come to the other oligopolists who are present in the market, and he's going to lose the market share. So again, if he wants to survive in the market, he'll have to leave P2 and he'll have to come back to P1. Hence, prices are sticky at P1. Prices are rigid at P1. Now look at the other situation. In the other situation, uh, prices have fallen. Okay, prices have fallen. Okay, from P1 the prices fall to P3. Okay, and what's the idea? The idea is that this person wants to increase his quantity sold, or in other words, he wants to increase his market share by reducing the price. Well, he may succeed to some extent, but the cost he has to bear for this minimal increase in market share is a lot. Just look at it. His prices fall from P1 to P3, which is a major fall. It's a major fall in the price. His revenue will fall, and his market share, his quantity demanded, will increase by very little. Okay, though his market share will increase, but the cost will be high. But what is worse, his competitors, the other oligopolists, are observing his behavior. So when they are observing his behavior, they are going to also reduce the price. So a price war might ensue. Okay, for that little increase in market share, the others will also start reducing their prices, with the result that the benefit will go only to the consumer in the form of prices much lower than P1, which is P3. Okay, so even in this case, there is a small increase in market share, but that is assuming that the other people do not reduce their prices, which they will, because they are looking at the price behavior of the competitors. They will reduce their prices, and again, the objective of increasing the market share by this particular firm may be lost. No firm may end up increasing market share on a permanent basis. Okay, so once again, cooler heads will prevail, better sense will prevail, and once again they will all settle for price of P1. So please keep one thing in mind. There are three things here that are happening. What is happening in this market? There is price competition. There may be price competition. It's not that there is no price competition in oligopolies. There may be price competition, but only when that price competition helps you increase your market share. Secondly, there will be a lot of non-price competition. Okay, there may be a lot of non-price competition if they realize that a price war is useless for everybody. It does not lead to any permanent increase in market share. And thirdly, because people get so irritated because of this constant interdependence, there is an incentive for them to collude. There is an incentive for them to set prices together. Okay, so that is something that we have seen in this part. And now in the next part, what I will do is I will use the same diagram, and I'm going to impose the cost curves on this and use those cost curves to show why prices are sticky and prices do not change in the oligopolistic market. Okay, so thank you very much. Stay tuned for the next.